Okay guys, today we are learning on how to factor trinomials of the type x squared plus bx plus c. Yesterday we learned how to do the FOIL method and then also the shortcuts of the FOIL method. This is going backwards. After it's already been FOILed and we figured out what it is simplified, we're going backwards to unFOIL or factor an expression in this type. So remember factoring something like this, where we say what is the largest number that you can factor out of 3, 15, and 21. That would be 3. And then you say what's the largest n that you can factor out of these. Well, there isn't an n in this term, so we can't factor an n out. And then there isn't an m in this term, so we can't factor m out. So there's something wrong with this. And I'm going to show you guys how to do this a little bit more efficiently and effectively. So, factoring trinomials with only one variable. I'm going to show you how to do this. Now, what I'm going to tell you is that it's going to be in the form x and then some number, adding or subtracting some number, and then x and then adding or subtracting some number. Now, these two numbers, this number and then also this number, have to multiply to be 12, and then they have to add to be 7, and you'll see why in just a second. What I'm going to first do is say what are the factors of 12? I know that we can do 1 times 12, or 2 times 6, or 3 times 4. Those are the only sets that are factors of 12. So we could have a 1 here and a 12 here, or a 2 and a 6 there, or a 4 and a 3. But those numbers have to add to be 7. So we check and we say, alright, 1 plus 12, that's 13. That won't work. 2 plus 6, that's 8. That won't work. 3 plus 4, that's 7. So those are our numbers. So it's going to be positive 3, so plus 3, and positive 4, so plus 4. And the way that we check this to make sure that we did it correctly is we FOIL this expression out. FOIL, the firsts, x times x is x squared. The outsides, x times 4 is a positive 4x. The insides, 3 times x is a positive 3x. And then the lasts, the 3 times the 4 is positive 12. So you see these numbers multiply to be 12, and then these middle terms combine. So it's kind of like you're adding the 3 and the 4. 4x plus 3x is 7x. So it works out. So this was our actual answer. Let me make sure that this is still recording. Let's do this next one. We know that the two numbers have to multiply to be 10. So let's think 10. That's like 1 times 10, those are some products, or 2 times 5. Add them up, you get 11 in this case. That doesn't work because they have to add to be 7. So 7 works right there. So we can have a 2, a positive 2, and a positive 5. If I were to ask you guys to enter the answer, you would enter it just like this: x plus 2, parentheses, x plus 5, which I will have you do in a little bit. Let's factor this. So 42. And what we see is that the two numbers have to add to be a negative 17. So if we have two numbers that multiply to be positive but add to be negative, those two numbers are going to be negative. So let's think about 42. Negative 1 times negative 42 equals 42. Negative 2 times negative 21 equals 42. Let's see, is 42 divisible by 3? It is. So negative 3 and negative 14. Is 42 divisible by 4? No. 5? No. 6? No. Yes. And negative 7. And that is it. 42 divided by negative 6 is equal to negative 7. That's how I got those numbers. That's how you check it. 42 divided by negative 1, negative 42. 42 divided by negative 2, negative 21. 42 divided by negative 3 equals negative 14. Now you add them up. Negative 1 plus negative 42 equals negative 43. Now that doesn't work. I need negative 17. Add these two, you get negative 23. Don't want it? Add these two, you get negative 17. Those are our numbers. So we're going to have, in this case, D and a negative 3, and then a D and a negative 14. If I ask you guys to type it in just like that. Factor this one. So 18, and we realize that our numbers are going to be both negative. So negative 1, negative 18, negative 2, negative 9, negative 3, negative 6, and that is it. Negative 1 plus negative 18 is negative 19. Negative 2 plus negative 9 is negative 11. Negative 3 plus negative 6 is negative 9. Which one worked? Oh, these two. Negative 2, negative 9. X minus 2, X minus 9. Go ahead and do this one for practice. Actually, no, I'm going to do this one also. Negative 27. They have to multiply to be negative 27. So what I know is that if two numbers multiply to be a negative number, one of those numbers is negative. So let's think about this. 27, just regular 27, would be 1 times 27, 3 times 9. Let's think, it's divisible by 4, no, 5, no, 6, no, 7, no, 8, no, 9. So those are the only numbers that multiply to be 27. Now, if I add these numbers but put a negative on the negative 1, or on the 1, I get 26. That's not 6, that doesn't work. If I had switched it, if I had put my negative on the 27, I get negative 26. So that doesn't work. What if I put the negative on the 3 and add the 9? I do get 6. So that's it. Negative 3 and 9 are going to be our numbers. M minus 3, M plus 9. Let's do this one. So this time the two numbers are going to multiply to be negative, so one of them will be negative and they have to add to be negative 3. So let's look. 18 can be made of negative 1. Let's just work with just the regular 18. 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. If I put a 1 as negative plus 18, That doesn't work. That's 17. So and either way, it's not going to work to make the 3. Let's say negative 2 plus 9. That's 7. That doesn't work either. Let's think negative 3 plus 6. That's positive 3. We need negative 3. So let's switch those around. Put the negative in front of the 6. In that case, it is negative 3. So our numbers are 3 and negative 6. Plus 3 and minus 6. I'll have you guys do this one as practice, this one as practice, and then to the homework. For the homework, I'm going to come back and do it at the end, but right now I want you to pause the video and do the homework, and then when you're done with the section that goes to numbers 2 through 28, once you're done with number 28, then you're going to pick up again at factoring trinomials with 2 variables, and you're going to watch me. So let's pause the video. Welcome back. Now we have 2 variables. It doesn't really matter that we have 2 variables because it's going to be done almost the exact same way. Only difference is that in each set of parentheses we're going to start with an h, whatever's right here, start with that variable, and then it's going to end with whatever variable is at the end in every single one, and then there's going to be a number in front of the k in this case. Now the numbers still have to multiply to be negative 77, which is our C term. So negative 77, we can do 1 and 77. Just off the top of my head, 7 and 11. And that's probably all that works. Now if I realize right away that 1 and 77 aren't going to work out to make a negative 4 in any way. But let's say that we look at 7 and 11. If we make the 11 a negative, 7 minus 11 is negative 4. So that's what we're going to use, 7 and negative 11. Plus 7 minus 11. Moving on, same thing here. Negative 48 is the number they have to multiply to be, and right away I know that my first variable in each binomial is going to be v, and my second one is going to be w, and the number is going to come in front of the w. v, w, some number. Negative 48 they have to multiply to be. So I think, alright, 1 and 48, 2 and 24, 3 times anything, 16, 4 and 12, 5, no, 6, yes, and 8. Okay, now one of these numbers in each set has to be negative and one has to be positive to make it to negative 48. So I have to manipulate, I have to see which one has a difference of 2. Looking all the way down at the bottom, 6 and 8 I realize has a difference of 2. If I make the 6 a negative and add 8, that equals 2. So negative 6 and 8 are our answers. So it's going to be written as V minus 6W times V plus 8W. Skipping these, let's do some homework problems together. In this case, I'm going to have in each binomial starting with x, ending with y. Start with x, end with y. Now the numbers have to multiply to be 35. So I have 1 and 35, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7, and that's it. That's all that multiplies to be 35. Now, both the numbers are going to be positive, so that's okay. I can add them. 1 and 35 is 36. We don't want that. 5 and 7 is 12. That's what we're going to use, the 5 and the 7. So plus 5y plus 7y. And we're done. Let's do one more homework problem together, and then you'll be left on your own. So each one's going to start with m, end with n. We have to find the numbers. So multiply to be 54, negative 54, and then the difference has to be negative 3. So 54 is divisible by 1, you get 54. The difference isn't going to be 3. 2, 27. The difference isn't going to be negative 3. 3, it's going to be 18. 4, don't believe so, nope. 5, nope. 6, and 9, and that's it. Which one has a difference of 3? Well, 6 and 9. And if I make the 9 negative, 6 minus 9 equals negative 3. So we're going to use a positive 6 and a negative 9. That's it. Okay guys, that's it for my video today. I want you guys to do the rest of the problems. As you see, I have all kinds of graphical errors on this document, so I want you guys to do the rest and check with me. I'll have the answers for y'all.